If you live in the West, you only have two options. You either stay and fight, or you go. You escape and you leave it behind. If you live in the UK now, you're probably paying 40% tax. You're surrounded by migrants. They'll stab you and say you're racist and get off. Or some Pakistanis will come along, rape your girlfriend, get away with it because the police will cover it up. You might live in Germany and some Afghan or Syrian will drive a car into you and you're dead. You might live in Sweden and some Malis rob you in the street in Malmö. You might live in France and you'll be replaced by Africans in 10 years' time. Live in Italy, hordes of migrants coming through. They might attack you just because they need money. Or you might be Spanish and the government gives passports away like it's candy. And they say, well, this guy from Nigeria is just as Spanish as you. And you will be replaced. That is one option. You accept that. Or you could fight. You could vote for a party and say, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to vote for something else. Except the vast majority of the people living in our country won't vote the way you will. They'll vote for more of the same, especially women. I love women, but they always vote for left-wing parties. And they will keep doing this. They will vote for their own replacement. And in 20 years' time, when they realize it's too late, they'll cry and no one's coming to save them. You as a man could stay in Europe and fight back. You could be in America where you're being replaced by Latinos or Indians taking your jobs. Exactly the same thing in Canada or Australia or New Zealand. Someone comes along and wants to replace you. You could try and fight it, but it's probably not going to work. Or you have a second option. You just run away and escape. Now, a lot of people will tell me, Peter, you ran away from the West. You're a coward. You're a traitor. But I'm 34 now. At the very best, my life is a third of the way through. Do you really think that I have the power to fight back? Even if I'm a millionaire and I run as a politician, will people vote for me? You already have a load of politicians who are arguing for remigration. They don't win elections. The far right don't win in France, in Germany, in England, in Sweden, in the Netherlands. They're just controlled opposition. So really, what can I do? That's why I went to Eastern Europe, or Central Europe, if you like. I moved to the Czech Republic. I went away because I knew there was nothing for me in the West. I didn't want to be attacked by migrants. I've already been stabbed once by a black guy. I don't want to be stabbed again. I don't want to pay 40% tax. So I just left. And I think it's great. I love living in the Czech Republic. It's a majority white country where I am very safe. But of course, I don't want to stay there forever. I don't even want to pay 10% tax. I want to get away. So if you are a person who lives in a Western country, whether it's Western Europe, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, doesn't matter where, and you want to escape, here are your options. If you live in North America, let's say the US or Canada, you could go to Latin America, learn Spanish, learn Portuguese, and go live in Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, doesn't matter where. There are tax structures. You can do it in Panama or in Paraguay, and you don't have to pay tax. Pay 0% tax. Why are you paying tax to a government that hates you or wants to replace you? Pay 0% tax. Build a business online and make a load of money. Live in Latin America with big booty Latinas. And I am now talking to the men out there. I know there are lots of women who are saying, oh, but I want to move. Yes, but largely women go where men go. My girl lives in Prague with me because I live in Prague. She didn't move to Prague because she wanted to. Guys move to countries and girls go with them. And women are the ones who vote for left-wing policies anyway, so the women don't realise what's coming for them. They're the ones voting for this largely. They're the ones voting to bring in more migrants, bring in more crime, and they won't realise for another 10, 20, 30 years until it's too late. You can leave now. If you live in North America, you could go to Latin America, let's say. Or you can move to the Gulf states. Now, a lot of you who agree with me will say, oh yeah, but it's full of Muslims. Yeah, but not the kind of Muslims you dislike. You don't like Pakistanis because they're violent and they rape girls. You don't like ISIS from Syria because they will attack you in the streets. You don't like Islamic extremists. But the Arabs living in Qatar or Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, they're great. They're just as Western as we are, basically. They're just like me and you. Yeah, sure, if you move there, you have a few less freedoms. You can't criticize the government. You can't do pornography. You can't go on some pride parade. But do you really want to do that anyway? You will live better in those countries than you will do living in Belgium or Portugal, in countries where you get arrested for having your own opinion. You move to the UAE, it's exactly the same. Okay, no freedom of speech. Do you have freedom of speech in the UK? No. So life there will be better. And you pay 0% tax. And a government that actually wants you to win. You live in the UAE, pay 0% tax, or in Qatar, you run a business online, pay 0% tax, and no one's going to attack you. Sure, it's full of Indians and Pakistanis and Africans, whatever. Yeah. But they know if they do anything wrong, they will be executed or whipped or deported. So they won't do anything to you. In countries like Ireland or Germany, these migrants know they can get away with it. So they'll attack you. They won't in countries like the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. So these are great places to go. So if you live in Europe, maybe move to those countries, learn Arabic. Or if you want to have a bunch of fun, you could move to Southeast Asia. I've been to Thailand, Bangkok. I've been to Bali. These places are really fun. And they're cheap. You can live a good life in these countries. You can find 0% tax structures. You can contribute to their society, their country, because you are making money abroad and spending it in their country. You're not taking from their country like an Indian is in Europe. You're actually giving something back. Move to these countries if you like a bit of fun. Whether it's Colombia, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Vietnam or Indonesia. Learn the language, integrate, find a girl in this country, give back to the country, make a bunch of money online, and have a load of fun. Because if you're young, you're probably younger than me watching this. I'm 34. You might be 24. You might be 18. I don't know. Even if you're 60 and you don't see any future in your country, leave. There are lots of older guys living in Southeast Asia, having fun. And the stereotype that they're all looking for very young girls is not true. You can live in these countries, enjoy your life in safety, integrating into the culture, at the beach every day, making money online. Is that any worse than what you have living in Middlesbrough in England, or Gary, Indiana, or some social housing in Australia, or Dortmund in Germany? It doesn't matter where you are. You're living in a crappy place. The government hates you, wants to replace you. It will arrest you for having an opinion. It will tax you at 40% just for working hard. Meanwhile, migrants are living off welfare or doing crappy jobs so your children can't get a part-time job. There's no future for you. You might as well move to a third world country. And that sounds like an insult, but no, third world is no longer an insult. Sure, Africa, shithole. Pakistan, shithole. India, shithole. But Latin America, not a shithole. Latin America is a great place to be. I've only been to Mexico, absolutely loved it. If I could choose living in Mexico or in Washington I'd definitely choose Guadalajara. It's a great place. It's fun. I'm sure if I ever go to Colombia or Brazil or Argentina, it'll be great fun. I've been to the UAE, to Oman. Great place if you want to do business. Amazing place. You can make millions there. Learn Arabic, you probably make billions. You move to Southeast Asia. I've been to Thailand, I've been to Indonesia. Amazing place to live. If you told me now, you can either live in Norway or in Indonesia, I would choose Indonesia like that. You offer me, you can live in Canada or you can live in Peru. I would definitely live in Peru. Being born in a Western country is a huge privilege and it's an honor. I'm very thankful to have been born British, but I wouldn't want to stay living here. And if you are living in one of these Western countries, I'm going to say this one last time. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I highly recommend that you leave and you go somewhere fun like Latin America, Southeast Asia, or somewhere that you can do business, the Middle East, the Gulf states, somewhere you can make a ton of money. Because you have one life and you don't owe the country you were born into. If the government treats you like shit, especially if you're a white person, and they say, you suck, you're a racist, we're going to arrest you, we're going to push you down, you can leave. You're not required to pay tax forever. You're not required to stay in that country. You can take your knowledge, all your skills, go somewhere else and live in a country that respects you. If you think that Mexico will treat you better, then go there. If you think that the Gulf states with 0% tax and a business-friendly environment will treat you better, go there. If you think Thailand, Vietnam, even China, Korea, Japan, doesn't matter where. If you think these countries would treat you better than the country you were born in, than the country you grew up in, then go there. You are not required to stay in the country you were born in. You are an adult. You are free to go wherever you want. Believe me, if you stay in a Western country that is collapsing and you are 80 years old, you will likely regret it. You spent your entire life working for somebody else, making them rich, sitting in an office, paying money to a government that hates you. Or you could be 80 and know that you lived in Latin America. You opened a business in the Gulf states. You traveled around Southeast Asia. Maybe you met your future wife there. And you had a great life, living in a villa in 30 degrees, no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. You got a pool, you own your own home. In the West, you won't own your own home. And you lived a great life. And you had children. In the West, you can't afford children. Imagine you live in Latin America or Southeast Asia and you have 6 children. Imagine the legacy. Imagine how happy you will be if you made that decision. But if you want to do this, the best way to do it is to integrate. You need to learn the language. So if you want to go to Latin America, learn Spanish or Portuguese. You want to open a business in the Gulf states, learn Arabic. You want to go and live in Thailand, learn Thai. Vietnam, Vietnamese. Indonesia, Indonesian. Sounds obvious, but most Westerners moving to these countries don't do it. And they have a horrible time, they move back to their shithole countries, and they work in an office for the rest of their life. Don't make the same mistake as they did. Learn the language of the country you're moving to. Integrate, get involved, give something back. I know a British guy who lives in Thailand, and he does so much charity work, and he's so happy for doing so, because he's giving back to the country he moved to. Learn the language, get involved, make money on the internet, integrate, live a great life, and leave the country you were born in, if you're born in a Western country. They don't care about you. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to be happy. They want to replace you. Live your life, be happy, or give up totally. I hope this video inspired you to go somewhere and enjoy it. If only you go for a year and say you don't like it and go back to your country. Okay, at least you tried. If this video made one person leave their Western country and had a great life because of me, it will all be worth it and I will be happy. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.